Hello, BookTube. This is my second book haul of March 2026. This book haul is composed of books from two orders. The first one I got were the second and third parts of an order I put in with Alibris. Alibris is a used book website that brings together a number of small and independent and small chain bookstores. I ordered from two bookstores, one half price books, the other I'm blanking on the name. I think it might have been Green World out of Irving, Texas. And then the rest of them come from Amazon. I wanted to see if Amazon's delivery is now mostly through them rather than through the post office. And the delivery driver actually hand delivered me the later part of that Amazon order. So let's get going. I have alphabetized them because I've already logged them all into my library. So first up is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. With its light and bright and sparkling dialogue, its romantic denouement, and its lively heroine, Pride and Prejudice is Jane Austen's most perennially popular novel. The love story of Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy, who misjudge, then challenge and change each other, is also a novel about the search for happiness and self-knowledge in a world of strict social rules, where a woman must marry well to survive. So I read Pride and Prejudice 25 to 30 years ago. I was 15 at the time, so closer to 25 than to 30. And I think at the time I perhaps was a little too young, and I really wasn't ready for Pride and Prejudice. And that reading, I think, colored my view of returning to Pride and Prejudice, but also of trying out the rest of Austen's work. So now that my reading attentions have turned more to fiction, poetry, and drama, I think it is high time I finally give Pride and Prejudice another go. Next is Heart Lamp by Banu, Mushtaq, translated by Deepa, Bhasthi. And this is translated from the Kannada. So, in the 12 stories of Heart Lamp, Banu Mushtaq exquisitely captures the everyday lives of women and girls in Muslim communities in southern India. Published originally in the Kannada language between 1990 and 2023, praised for their dry and gentle humor, these portraits of family and community tensions testify to Mushtaq's years as a journalist and lawyer, in which she tirelessly championed women's rights and protested all forms of caste and religious oppression. Written in a style at once witty, vivid, and colloquial, moving and excoriating, it's in her characters, the sparky children, the audacious grandmothers, the buffoonish Malvis and thug brothers, the oft hapless husbands, and the mothers above all, surviving their feelings at great cost, that Mushtaq emerges as an astonishing writer and observer of human nature, building disconcerting emotional heights out of a rich spoken style. Her opus has garnered both censure from conservative quarters as well as India's most prestigious literary awards. This is a collection sure to be read for years to come. So, Heart Lamp won last year's International Booker Prize, which is on the back. So this is published by Other Stories, and Other Stories. So this is the first book from them that I have received. So This publisher basically has a set sort of format where some of the text is published on the cover with the title and author up top. It has French flaps and also has a picture of the author in the back. I'm not entirely sure if this is typical. I'm hoping it is. So I will be looking for more and other stories published books as well. And also I will be reading this book soon. Next is 10th of December by George Saunders. 10th of December is the most honest, moving, and critically acclaimed collection yet from George Saunders, one of the most important writers of his generation. These stories take on the big questions and explore the fault lines of our own morality. The characters vividly and lovingly infused with Saunders' signature blend of exuberant prose, deep humanity, and stylistic innovation. So, I have some unfinished business with George Saunders. Not entirely sure, I don't quite remember this book in particular, but I do have some unfinished business with George Saunders. Sticking with the short story theme, next is The History of Sound by Ben Shattuck. In 12 luminous stories, The History of Sound examines the unexpected ways the past returns to us and how love and loss are entwined and transformed over generations. In Ben Shattuck's ingenious collection, mysteries and murders are revealed, history is refracted, and deep emotional connections are woven through characters and families. The haunting title story recalls the journey of two men who meet around a piano in a smoky, dim bar, only to spend a summer walking the Maine woods collecting folk songs in the shadow of the First World War, forever marked by their odyssey. Decades later, in another story, a woman discovers the wax cylinders recorded that fateful summer while cleaning out her new house in Maine. Shattuck's inventive, exquisite stories transport readers from 1700s Nantucket to the contemporary woods of New Hampshire and beyond. Written with breathtaking humanity and humor, The History of Sound is a love letter to New England, a radiant conversation between past and present, and a moving meditation on the abiding search for home. And I will be right back. Sorry about that. We had a Walmart delivery that I had to take care of. Where was I? Yes, back to The History of Sound. So I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so want to check it out for myself. The next two books are by Amy Tan, starting with The Joy Luck Club. In 1949, four Chinese women, recent immigrants to San Francisco, began meeting to eat dim sum, play mahjong, and talk. United in shared unspeakable loss and hope, they call themselves the Joy Luck Club. With wit and sensitivity, Amy Tan's debut novel, now widely regarded as a modern classic, examines the sometimes painful, often tender, and always deep connection between these four women and their American-born daughters. I have wanted to read this novel for a long time, and that desire has increased in the last few weeks. I have read Tan's second novel, The Kitchen God's Wife, about 25 years ago, and I had a certain urge to want to add it back to my collection. Winnie and Helen, lifelong friends, have kept each other's secrets for more than 50 years. When Helen decides it's time to reveal the truth, Winnie knows that she must first tell her daughter, Pearl, about her past, including something terrible that even Helen does not know. And so begins the story of Winnie's journey from a small island outside Shanghai in the 1920s, across ravaged China during World War II, and eventually to the United States. A striking portrait of a courageous woman and a tale that celebrates the bond between mother and daughter The Kitchen God's Wife is the work of a master storyteller. Ooh dear. I'm going to have to clean this up. Next is The Quick and the Dead by Joy Williams. Misanthropic Alice is a budding eco-terrorist. Corvus has dedicated herself to mourning. Annabelle is desperate to pursue an ordinary American life of indulgences. Misfit and motherless, they share an American desert summer of darkly illuminating signs and portents, and locales as mirrored strange as a nursing home where the living dead are preserved, to a wildlife museum where the dead are presented as living. The girls attend to their future. A remarkable attendant cast of characters, including a stroke survivor whose sole mate is a vivisected monkey, an aging big game hunter who finds spiritual renewal in his infatuation with an 8-year-old, the formidable Emily Bliss Pickles, and a widower whose wife continues to harangue him, populate this gloriously funny and wonderfully serious novel where the dead are forever infusing the living and all creatures strive to participate in eternity. And I'm going to have to clean up the back of this book because the next book got some gunk on it. And that annoys me, so I'm going to have to clean this one up too. So this next book is Sweet Bird of Youth by Tennessee Williams. And this is the one I got from Half Price Books, which annoys me immensely because I thought this was a good condition book, and it's just merely acceptable. Like many of Tennessee Williams' works, Sweet Bird of Youth is his 1959 success, developed gradually from a one-act play to an expanded version put on in Florida in 1956, to the Broadway reworking and ultimately to the published text, now available for the first time as a New Directions paperback. It is this developmental care and artistry, in large part, that have won the author one of the largest play reading publics of our time. The very title of Sweet Bird of Youth is one of ironic pity. The two chief characters, a rattled has-been actress from Hollywood, seeking to forget her present in drugs and sex, and her still handsome Monsieur Gigolo, who has brought her to his hometown in the South, believing that through her money and faded glamour, his gaudy illusions may yet come true, are the reverse side of the American dream of youth. Yet as they work out their fate amid violence and horror, there is nevertheless a note of compassion for the damned. So I read Sweet Bird of Youth about 20 plus years ago and really enjoyed it, and I've been wanting to reread it ever since. So I'm happy to have this individual volume, although I'm kind of bummed that it's not in as great a quality as I'd hoped it would be. But yeah, so I will be getting to that soon after I clean it up. And the final book is another collection of poetry by Charles Wright, Negative Blue, selected later poems. The publication of Charles Wright's Appalachia in 1998 marked the completion of a 9-volume project. The first two of his trilogies were collected in Country Music, 1982, which won the National Book Award, and The World of the 10,000 Things, 1990. Negative Blue is the compilation of his third trilogy, Chickamauga, 1995, which won the Academy of American Poets Lenore Marshall Poetry Prize for the year's Best Book of Poetry, Black Zodiac, 1997, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award and the 1998 Pulitzer Prize in Poetry, and Appalachia, 1998. To this collection, Wright has added a selection of new poems which suggests new directions for the sensuous, spirit-haunted poet. So, that is my second March 2026 book haul. There will certainly be a third towards the end of the month because yesterday I put in another order with pals. I can't help myself. Anyway, BookTube, I will be back tomorrow with some more of my 2026 library tour and an episode of Poetry Thursday featuring the poetry of Anne Marie Macari. So look forward to that. Anyway, BookTube, until I see you then, thank you. Have a great afternoon.